मैं कर दूँ ठीक है प्रवेश वन ओके Yeah, good evening all. So welcome to APEC course for Prelims 2024, fine, Advanced Prelims Enrichment course. I hope everybody more or less have gone through the features of the program, all those things. We'll come to that, those are all later. So we'll discuss about how Prelims has changed over a period of time. So actually based on my experience only I can tell you, you can identify almost 3 phases in the evolution of Prelims. In the sense, in the last 10 years, from the era of new syllabus 2013, actually there are kind of 3 phases. So we'll discuss each one, one after the other. So just to introduce myself, if you don't know me, so my name is Manjunath. So I teach normally in GS polity subjects. Of course, for mains GS2, polity, governance, social justice, and then public administration optional. So for Prelims sake, GS sake, so I'll be handling polity. So obviously today is the orientation session. So from tomorrow onwards, if you have gone through the schedule, we will be having polity classes itself. So today we'll have a broader discussion about how the questions are, questions in the sense, broadly you can say the core areas have changed. Has there been any major change in the way the questions have been asked, or what do you call as this, especially if you have gone through the questions. I'm assuming at least most of you would have given at least one attempt, right? So obviously, because if you have started from now itself, so assuming obviously you would have already given. Fine. Okay, first briefly I'll tell you, new syllabus obviously, UPSC has given the new syllabus from which year? 2013. So from then on, if you have observed, 2013 to you can say largely 2017, 4-5 years, you can assume or you can take it as a kind of phase 1 kind of a one, where actually Prelims was relatively more easy. Fine. So easy in the sense, if you had a hold on the core content, core concepts, what you can call it as conceptual clarity, you had a very, very high percentage of getting into the mains. Fine. Even if you have prepared for less than 1 month also, you will still get a chance in mains. So that was the era of Prelims till 2017 you can say. But 2018 was the first year, so those, you ask your seniors or faculties, anybody, they'll tell you, was the first year where they changed actually, the pattern of question changed a bit. Fine, even like let's say they started to make it a little more lengthy, even CSAT also started to change a little more, it started to become a little more technical, complicated kind of a ones by 2018. So 2018, 19, 20, you can say those 3 years, it became like let's say kind of phase 2, where though still the conceptual clarity was working, paper was still more tricky. Fine, so they started to waste by asking this, too many lengthy questions, they started to waste the time of the candidates, all those things, other tricks that started. So as I said in phase 1, so number of prelims questions, number of prelims in the sense, number of basic questions, 2013 to 2017 you can say, the basic questions where actually the real game is. Basic questions means you understand, right? Let's say for example in polity, if you take questions on fundamental rights, questions on parliament, if you take it on economy, let's say questions on the national income, monetary policy, fiscal policy, or the basics of environment, basics of geography, OSAB, modern India OSAB. So maybe you can say 40 plus, 40 to 50, depending on how difficult or how easy was the paper in that year. Fine. And even if you have looked at the cutoff, that's why it will be somewhere around 95 to 100 was the normal cutoff during that time. Sometimes in fact, like let's say 2016, 17, I think cutoff crossed 100 also, 106, 107, 1 year I think it went till 115, 120 also. Can you imagine now, matlab kitna above cutoff, 87, 80, kitna the last year, 87.5, okay, 7, let's say 87, 88. So it crossed even till 120, I am telling you only GS May. So forget about that. Before that, CSAT was also counted for those all. I am not taking that. Only GS 120, almost 118 or 117 that year. That obviously that all era has gone. Fine, because the basic questions was 40 to 50. Normally, whoever was serious candidates used to get somewhere around, let's say 40, 50 is the basic questions. 45, 46 correct there itself. That means imagine your score. It has already reached to 90 by then. So and obviously another 35 or 40 questions में आपको whatever depending on how well you use your guesses, 20 correct, let's assume 50-50. Automatically students used to get 150, 120, 125 also. That was, and even like let's say those who used to complete like let's say what interviews, those who got into the list, maybe they did not get the expected service or they went to interview but could not get into the list. All those people directly used to attempt for what do you call as this prelims next round, even with a span of what 2-3 weeks, but still they again used to come back for the next round. That is how most of us also have done during that time till 18-20 also in a way. But that era changed a bit, as I said, in 2018 to 2020, where the basic questions came to, you can say 35 to 40, sometimes even in 32, 33 to that level it came down. Fine. Automatically what happened, see this is where the real game is. If you don't get the hold here, automatically rest of the questions UPSC can ask anything literally. If you have, obviously 23, 22 you look at the questions. So what are we studying, what are they asking, almost you would have obviously felt like what, why did I prepare for 4 months, they are asking something else, using my whatever knowledge that I have, I am just using some guess, some broader understanding and then I am trying to somehow eliminate and I am coming at an answer. That is how most of you would have done also, because the nature of questions, these questions have changed. Automatically cutoff came down to 90 to 95. Fine, and even obviously gradually they started to make CSAT a little more difficult. That's why this automatically started to come down. Now post COVID, maybe because exactly factors we don't know, probably because of what too many students getting into because of the COVID impact, the jobless issues or whatever the factors, n number of factors. Now we have entered the phase 3 where you can say 2021 to 2023, where again the number of basic questions, some people tell here and there, but I can still tell you it is somewhere around 30 now. Some people tell no, it is actually around, it has been brought down to 20 to 25, but I still feel 30 to 35 itself is the basic range. Fine. So cutoff is, you can say, even this year we have to see how it goes, you can assume 85 to 90. Another most important reason, probably 5 marks is less, not because of GS, because a lot of students who have got, let us say even among you also, some people might have got 92, 93 or whatever, around 90, but still aapka CSAT tough hoga, so maybe you could not clear because of CSAT, like that. So many are there, obviously I don't have to explain, you will be aware of that by now. So that is 5 marks is less, not because of GS but because of CSAT. So that is one major change that has happened in the number of basic questions. See, for this the most important reason I feel is this one. If you looked at the syllabus, look at your prelim syllabus, whatever, obviously UPSC official notification itself, current events of national and international, look at the syllabus, how broad it is. Is there any clarity in the syllabus here? What do you mean by, let's say, Indian polity and governance, constitution, political system, panchayat raj, public policy and rights issues? What do you mean by that? See, because, okay, keywords are there, but the most important reason is because the syllabus is very, very vague, UPSC has a scope to ask from what do you call as, you can say, very, very broad area. Now just 2-3 weeks back, so obviously we had mains. You go back and compare 2023 mains with 2022 mains. You will maximum you will find 10 to 20% change. The most important reason is what? Because syllabus is very, very detailed in mains. You take, let's say for example, because I handle GS2, I can tell you for GS2, you look at GS2, you have 19 subtopics, means key, what you can say, kind of key points. 19 key points in just GS paper 1, GS paper 2. Fine, matlab automatically for each subtopic, for each keyword, if you have a question, automatically your 20 questions is done there. So they have to ask on each and everything there. You go and look at GS3 syllabus, kitna detailed hai. So they just have to ask a question on that keyword. But what do you mean by political system here? What do you mean by constitution? Constitution is not simple word, right? Imagine, look at the broad, what do you call this, length and breadth of it. So that is actually the most important reason. Another important reason is, just to understand, get into the core of the game, the most, the core reason why UPSC makes it now, obviously they have been time and again, it has been always been there, now it has become more and more uncertain, more and more unpredictable, you might have heard all those words, is because the number of students that UPSC has to eliminate in the first round. Imagine, so now a lot of people are telling, Arya, this time it was the peak, 12 lakh students appeared, 13 lakh students appeared, they are telling. Whatever, any which way I can tell you, 50, even not 50%, probably 3 lakh maximum will be the serious candidates. Let 10 lakh, let 13 lakh appear. You will not have everybody who is just because they appeared in the exam, just because they applied for the exam, they are not serious candidates. Maximum you can assume 2.5 to 3 lakh will be serious candidates. Fine. Out of the serious candidates also, let's assume this time they have given chance for I think 14,000 mains people. Let's assume on an average 1000 vacancies, on an average into 10,000 people they have to get in. So let's assume 10 lakhs say they have to bring it down to 10,000. Now automatically look at the elimination ratio, means just make a basic fraction of that. How many people they have to eliminate, and look at the syllabus. Because of the vagueness, because of the number of students, so automatically prelims becomes very, very uncertain. That is the actual reason why it becomes uncertain. Fine, but again you don't have to worry about the cutoffs or all those things, because ultimately this exam is relative. Whatever the average students are getting, you just have to get maybe let's say 5-10 marks more, and that too what, it is not a huge marks, just a matter of 4 questions, 5 questions correct. Other than let's say your roommate, your batchmate, whoever is doing with you, you have to get 4 to 5 positive questions than them. Automatically you count 8 to 10 positive, and whatever negative would have gone in them, you count that. Easily 10 to 12 positive marks you will get. That is where the game is. We will get into that gradually. So this is the syllabus which is, in this orientation I will not be dealing with CSAT in detail, because CSAT obviously they will take care, so Pratibha ma'am will take care, or probably Shaman sir will take care, depending on who will be taking those classes. Probably Pratibha ma'am will take care, so that they will deal with that. I will just give a broader idea. Fine. So now let's start with the most important subjects. All those things you will be knowing. We will just give a overall brief of it. So how the nature of exam is changing, all those things. So you know, so I don't have to explain all those things, what are the important subjects, all those aspects. Now you look at 2023 distribution. Again, this varies depending on how you have categorized the questions. Fine, if you categorize into what you call as this geography, environment, agriculture, if you group it into one, so that becomes another classification. Let's say there are acts related question, 1833 Act, all those things. Will you put it under modern India, will you put it under polity? Depending on that, the what you call this importance or the number of questions will keep varying. But this is the larger picture, 2023 prelims. Fine, somewhere around still, as I keep telling, polity and economy will still remain the core issues. That is where you have to get most of them correct. Fine, and then obviously geography, what has happened? The geography which was there before 2013-15, so that questions and this questions is not the same. So now if you have seen, the core conceptual geography questions have reduced. You might have observed that. They are asking more into what? Kind of, let's say, mapping kind of questions have increased relatively, national park kind of questions they have increased, rivers, dams. So something kind of factual orientation also they are increasing a lot. Indian geography they are touching a lot here. So that is the reason geography will have 13, because core, if you look at the what you call this conceptual question, I think somewhere people keep telling it is somewhere around 5-6 questions are only core geography questions. But obviously which has increased? Environment and science and tech, those two actually have increased a lot. Fine. So 2023 may they have put it as 9 for SNT, but look at 2017, 2022, 17 questions were from SNT. Where you always have to understand again, for these kind of subjects, SNT or environment kind of questions, one particular source you don't have. That's the major challenge you find there. Let's say modern, have you observed the history questions? Look at how much has modern India come down to. If modern India questions are more, actually it's a gift for students. What is the reason is what? You have very, very detailed books for that. Easily you can understand. And because you keep discussing about it one or other way multiple times, and it's relatively interesting also, one or other way you can link. But look at the vastness of your ancient medieval India and art and culture. Fine, even if you have put so much of effort on it, it is not so easy to get a hold or to get all those questions correct. Because syllabus itself is vast. The nature of subject matters a lot. Fine, let's say art and culture mein kitna facts aapko main yaad karna hai, just imagine. Ancient medieval India, how many kings, how many kingdoms, how many capitals it is, wars, temples, architectures, literatures, and you keep on adding to it. I don't even have to tell, books, all those things. Automatically, The more and more they reduce the questions from modern India and increase it in this one, ancient, medieval, or look at it, art and culture, all those things, automatically history also becomes difficult there. That is another big change they have done. Even have you observed, I'll get into polity also. Polity questions, have you observed the way they are asking? Earlier it used to be core, like let's say what do you mean, what is the core feature of parliamentary system, what is the core feature of federal system. Now then they shifted it to what, is this term mentioned in the constitution or not? Is it only mentioned or is it defined? Fine, how many times this act has been amended? So these all, like let's say, these are all very core ones. Normally earlier they never used to ask this. And if you have last 3-4 years, if you have observed, they have got into what kind of questions. What is the difference between parole and furlough? What do you mean by bail? Last year, if you have they have gone one step ahead. They have gone asked what? Indian Prisons Act 1894, Indian Evidence Act 1872. Normally in your typical polity, we don't study all these things. We may have a brief. Okay, so maybe like let's say for example, CRPC is there, IPC is there, Indian Evidence Act is there. This is the core of these acts. That kind of a way we study. But we will not get into obviously that level of details about what all is there under your Indian Prison Act WSUB. That is another depth they are entering into. Even you look at your, let's say last year polity question, they have asked about what, flag code of India. What is it's a very, very common thing, but you will not go into so details. Fine. That is how the nature of questions are continuously changing. International relation में कैसे change हो रहा है वो सब. Fine. So we'll look at those questions. This is a broader distribution. Now let's say okay, what we'll do is here we'll go subject by subject. I'll give a broader idea about what do you call this, what are the major areas they are asking the questions from. So what sources, based on obviously I have discussed with most of the faculties, and then I am giving you overall brief. Each and every faculty will take care of that respective subject, obviously depending on their subject expertise, right from sources to questions to how the nature of the questions is changing, what should be done better for the next 2024, all those things. Okay, so first point is what do you call this, sir, is it too early to start for prelims, all those things? I think it is much better. See, earlier, as in I am again telling you, 2 months preparation, 1.5 preparation. Earlier issue, in fact our cutoffs used to be like this, cutoff in the sense, when will you start for prelims, sir? Till 2020 we used to decide, let the notification come, let the notification applying on application date, let it end, then we'll start for prelims. That was the era, 18-19 tak. Then 1 or 2 years it became, oh no, from the notification date itself we have to prepare. But now I think that era is gone. You have to 100% prepare from January itself. Now if you have started, the biggest advantage that you will have is what? Let's say for example, half a day you can keep it for prelims. Half a day, let's say for example, your mains ka kuch notes is pending. Maybe you have not yet revised, maybe you have not yet made your short notes, maybe thoda aur mains ka PYQs likhna padega, maybe essay is pending. So all those things you can keep half a day for your mains till 20, let's say for example, till December. Half a day you dedicate for your anyhow APEC classes are starting, you can dedicate to that. Fine. From January, I'll say 100% it's better you shift to prelims. Because now it is like if you go and ask your seniors, they will tell, let's say for example, in the third mains I cleared, second mains I cleared, that all concepts was there. Now it is almost assuming like the year that you get a chance to write mains, that year you should make sure you are in list. You cannot assume that, okay, let me write mains this time, let me go to interview, next day I'll again come back and write mains and then work on my last year mistakes and then I'll get into the list. That one, as of now, if you look at the pattern of prelims and all those things, that strategy won't work. For simple reason, it is very, very unpredictable. So whoever seniors, so-called, let's say for example, who are in IRS, who are in IPS, even they, when they come back and give, you might have seen, because we have so many friends or what do you call this kind of junior who came in, it is not going to work like that at all. 1 year when you write mains, that should be the year where you are into the list. That should be the goal. Understood? So that's why whatever is pending for mains also, make sure you gradually finish it off within December. Fine. So that what will happen, by the time you, let's say for example, you gave your prelims, you should be in such a way that I should start 100% for mains now. I don't have to go and again prepare for mains notes. ये इसका notes बनाना है, इसका PYQs लिखना है. I'm still writing 13 questions in 3 hours, 15 questions in 3 hours. Let me start completing that. All you can't do it after your prelims. Then automatically those who have a little more hold, they'll just get into the list. That's why till December little more 50% means 50% prelims. That is one way. Fine. Second, obviously if you get into the subject wise, polity, as I have already told you, the main areas obviously you will be knowing. So right from preamble, have you observed the questions on preamble? How many times have they asked the question on liberty? In the last 5 years you can take 3 times they have asked the question on liberty. What is the core meaning of what you call this? The term liberty essentially means. Fine. What is the simplest definition of liberty? What is the relationship between law and liberty? It's the same ways they keep asking the questions there. So preamble obviously will matter a lot. Fine. So preamble and schedules, I don't have to explain again how important is the fundamental rights, all those things, DPSP, emergency, most importantly Parliament, fundamental rights as of now, and preamble. If you want to identify 3 most important chapters, it is preamble, fundamental rights, Parliament. Fine. The rest all, it depends which year are they asking all those things. Bodies obviously more or less automatically the importance has gone down. We'll again discuss all these things in your what do you call this, tomorrow itself we'll have to deal with that again. I'm just giving a broader idea, but the nature of questions is what we are dealing with. Now look at, these are all catchy words actually. Whatever they use these catchy words, look at it. Let's say for example the term in essence is not there, then the answer probably would have been fair application of law. I mean even now there are a lot of what do you call this, confusions about what will be the real answer, all those things. But according to me, because I teach polity, I can, based on my understanding, I can tell you the answer is principles of natural justice. But we have to see again, ultimately UPSC key will vary. Some people are telling no, it is just fair application of law. Due process of law equals procedure established by law plus is the law or rules fair and what do you call this, non-discriminatory, non-arbitrary, all those things I might have heard. We have to wait for the key. But for me, this is the catch here. In essence is the catch. One word they have played. So that's why answer will become principles of natural justice. So that also will matter a lot. See here, you might have observed 2022 or 2023, what is the length of the paper? You go and observe 2019 or 2020 ka paper. You go and look at 2023 paper. Probably twice they have made it lengthy. At least 1.5 to 1.45 times length has become the major challenge. Fine, those who are able to go through the question paper quickly have an advantage. Reading, have you faced that problem or not? Say early you might, maybe in the test series you might be able to go through second round, third round. There a lot of students have gone and felt, sir, by the time I finished 100 questions it was already 1 hour 45 minutes, 1 hour 50 minutes. I did not even get the time to come back in the second round, also students have told. Even a lot of students, directly they finish the paper like that itself. Because length is the biggest challenge. So what you have to do is, we'll come to that, how to handle all those things. Basic point what you have to keep that in mind is, maximum you keep it like 40 seconds or 50 seconds. If you are not able to come to an answer within 40 or 50 seconds, it's always better you skip and go to the next question. Because maximum within 1 hour 15 minutes, you have to go through the entire 100 questions. If you cannot go through 100 questions in 1 hour 15 minutes, you are already into trouble. There are some students, there are different strategies. There are some students, especially this is, normally it works for seniors who have already, writing 4th mains, 5th mains, all those things. They finish off at a stretch. Means what? They'll start from question number 1, directly finish off at question number 100. But that is not going to work so easily. You need a lot of confidence for that to handle like that. Ideal strategy, 1 hour 15 minutes mein aapko, by that time you should finish off entire paper, 1 round I am telling you. So that in your first round what you should do? Identify those core basic questions which I keep telling, 30 to 35, make sure that you attempt them. Let's say for example, you have eliminated 2 options but you are stuck in other 2. So take it as 50-50 question, either mark it or something and then come back for the next round. Random questions, always assume there are some, maybe you can say 10 to 15 questions, probably in this kind of questions you can assume 20 itself, which UPSC has probably, I am not sure, maybe it has made it deliberately so that you don't attempt it. Don't waste the time there. It's a relative exam, don't put in your lot of egos there that this is my strength area, this is my optional, how can I am a PSIR student, I am a PUBI student, how can I not attempt polity question, I have economics optional, how can I not attempt economic question? You don't have to bring any egos there. It's better you live it and you go to the next questions as quickly as possible. the more quickly you take the decision, the more, what do you call this, the more is the chance of getting into the mains. But that is actually very, very crucial trick. Reading the question. Remember earlier the game used to be in the questions. Now the game is where? Now the game is in the option. Look at that, last year 2022 mein kitna questions are, one pair correct or one statement correct, two statement correct. Probably 10. Now this time I think at least 50 questions, or probably more than that, depending on, you have to count, sit and count. At least 50% of the questions is how many statements are correct. And there what is not working? The traditional issues of what? Let's say for example, one, what do you call this, eliminate these extreme words, all of the above will not be correct, eliminate the facts. Let's say I know statement 2, eliminate 2, automatically comment, all those games are gone. The typical tricks is no longer going to work. Fine. The core thing which will always work is conceptual clarity. And I mean, as I discuss with multiple, what do you call this, faculties, the time and again what they are telling is, one aspect they are making it clear that what, if you are a person who is like, I will only study NCERT, I will study whatever reference book you told me, I will study whatever institute magazines you have told me, I will only depend on that. UPSC is clearly sending a message, we don't want such people into mains. They are expecting those students who will use their own curiosity. As we keep telling, like let's say for mains, even for prelims we can tell you, like let's say C's approach means what? First one is conceptual clarity. Second one, what matters the most is curiosity. Means whatever is, look at the squirrel question, look at orangutan question, look at the economy mein beta question. There are so many questions where you cannot prepare through books. It is impossible. How will you identify that questions? You just logically think and tell. How will you cover that in the syllabus? On what basis will you cover? So for such questions, okay, point number 1 is what? Let's say for example, 15 questions are there in environment. Fine, at least 10 to 12 will be from your core areas. Your focus should be that I should get all of them correct there. Next 2-3 where you have these orangutan questions, squirrel question, looks like very simple. But depending on how much is your curiosity, it matters. Remember like 2021 mein a question tha related to elephants. That elephants, what do you call as this, move in herds. What kind of elephant will lead the herd, all those things. Now whenever if you have observed these national geographies or whatever these, all those things, you will always observe that the big elephant will always keep leading, they will always go in a herd. Very simple observation. But when you look at it, what they are telling is, do you have the curiosity to do a little search? Okay, what is this nature? You should do that little search. If you have done that, you have an advantage of 4 to 5 questions. If you are not doing it and depending only on, what do you call as this, institution materials or only NCERT reference book, then that is going to cost a little bit. Fine. Okay, so let's start with first questions. What you have to understand is in polity, with respect to the syllabus, I think you will be knowing. So which sources you have to refer? I will again repeat. Which one? Again we'll be starting for tomorrow, but I am just giving you overall brief. Indian Constitution at Work, Democratic Politics 1, Democratic Politics 2, as well as Political Theory NCERTs are obviously very, very important, because pick and obviously literally if you might have seen, they'll pick and paste the questions there. Remember 2021 mein, 2022 mein, what is the question? What is the definition of state? 2022 I think. Yeah, 21 probably. So what is the meaning, what is the definition of state? Exact, just a simple definition, it was actually literally copy paste. Fine. What is the relationship between law and liberty? 2018 or 2019 question, copy paste. What is the, in essence, like I think literally almost like this, what is the meaning of liberty? Literally copy paste definition, all from political theory chapter. I mean political theory book you can say. So fine, never ever neglect NCERT, it still remains the most important, including which one? Let's say for example in box mein they have given something, even those, remember at the end of the chapter they will give you certain questions, attempt those questions also, don't neglect. In few books if you have seen, I think economy they give, I think geography also they give, wherein at the end they will give you this glossary of terms and then they will give you definition. That also will matter, at least 1 or 2 questions you may get easily from them. Don't neglect any of those things. Clear? So that also will matter a lot. Then, see these kind of questions, a little more in depth. So this one probably because remember, Home Minister Amit Shah kept on telling that we need to amend this Indian prisons rules. So time and again he kept telling that Model Prisons Act the Home Ministry was trying to make. Probably kind of extrapolation of this they have given this. So this is not typical where you get it in what do you call this basic Lakshmikant, all those things you will not get it, but a little more application oriented. You have to use what do you call this search a little bit and understand what is this, how prisons are managed. You should think about it. Fine. Let's say for example in art and culture, what do you call this, the faculty was telling, see what do you call in G20, whenever the Prime Minister, I mean if you have how he was receiving the dignitaries, all those things, at the back I think the Sun Temple, Konark, the picture was there. Now you should use your brain, okay, what is this temple? So what is this picture? Who constructed this Sun Temple? So which is the place it is situated in? What is the speciality of this temple? What kind of stones have they used? What is the architecture style? Which king built this? Fine. Was this temple kind of invasion, anything, I mean kind of attacks, anything, did it happen or not? That curiosity you have to use. I think in G20 also they use this Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, what do you call this kind of, you can say catch, a theme kind of a one they used. Where is this, what do you call this phrase taken from? Which Upanishad? See, everybody keeps telling Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. You should have a curiosity and inquisitiveness. Why do people regularly keep referring to this phrase? Is there anywhere is it made? Of course it looks like everybody knows it's a kind of slogan. That means it should be there somewhere in Upanishad. Which Upanishad? Remember long time they had asked this question. Satyamev Jayate, everybody keeps telling which Upanishad? Like Mundaka Upanishad like that. I think this one Maha Upanishad or something. Yeah, that one you should do it. I think Nataraja idol also they kept using a lot in G20 summit. Then you should search why are they using this Nataraja idol? What is the significance of this? Who first of all sculpted it or did I mean from which age? Or anything, what do you call this, any person, sculptor, what is the idea behind it, whatever, all those things you have to link. Remember they link it to so many things, I think they link it to fire, water, this, that, so many things they link in Nataraja idol. That one you have to keep on regularly keep doing it. If you don't do that and only depend on materials, that era is gone obviously. Fine, same thing applies even for polity also. Fine. So even in polity what they are doing, they are linking so many things. See, this is a very repeated question, multiple times they have seen this. Whenever they give, I keep saying this regularly even from tomorrow onwards I will tell you, whenever you find the word constitutionalism or constitutional state or constitutional government or constitution, the core word is what? Limited government. You just search for the term limited government, that is your answer. Let's say for example, if the question is on parliamentary system, let them give, I mean even if you have gone through basic Lakshmikant also they give multiple features, right? But what is the most important feature? Parliamentary system, and if they give which is the most important feature, which one you should use? Collective responsibility. Let them give dual membership, dual heads, it doesn't matter, collective responsibility. But then if they give which house, or to the parliament, to Lok Sabha, to Rajya Sabha, which house will you choose? Which house will you choose? If they tell that the Council of Ministers are collectively responsible to Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, Parliament. Why are you choosing Lok Sabha then? Because in Article 73, they have clearly mentioned the term House of People. So you have to choose Lok Sabha. Let's say for example, if they ask a question on which among the following is the core feature of federal system, which one will you choose? No, that is it. That is Indian context. Federal system is across the world. Which is the most important feature then? Division of power between different governments. That is the core feature. If you have observed 2022 prelims, I think they asked the question, they deliberately did not give the option division of power. Then which is the second most important feature? Independent judiciary. Now this one is clarity. Everybody knows that federal system means what? Okay, there will be different levels of government, the powers will be divided, written constitution will be there. All those things, basics, obviously everybody will study. But do you have that conceptual clarity about which is the most important? Fine. Even now, let's say for example, in economy also what they are doing. Earlier how questions used to be, if you ask a question on monetary policy, fiscal policy on fiscal policy. Now the question is what? They'll mix everything. Related to inflation they'll ask, but inflation they'll link it to monetary policy, they'll link it to fiscal policy also, they'll link it to your forex ratio, foreign exchange also, they'll link it to report, everything they'll link. Have you observed time and again students keep telling, sir, actually I know a lot of things, basics I am very clear in economics, But I don't know why in exam I get a lot of questions in economy wrong. Simple reason is because you know the theoretical definitions, you know the components, you know what do you mean by repo, you know what do you mean by reverse repo, you know whatever, bank rate, this, that, so many things are there, I'll not, fiscal deficit, this, that, inflation types, the indexes, all these things. But do you understand the interlinkages between all these aspects? Do you know the big picture, what they call? Now they are asking whatever, they, you know, some, they call it as hybrid questions. Hybrid means what? Mixture of all these things. That one is where the biggest challenge, because if they ask the question like that, one challenge is what? The length they are increasing, 4 or 5 statements they ask. 2, automatically your mind will take a lot of time to interlink and then come to an answer. Your time will get wasted there. It feels like I know this, I have read this, but it takes time. So they are wasting the time there, because hybrid question. So that's why for such questions, how should I prepare then? Whenever you read a subject, make sure that you interlink, 1, between the topics of the same subject, 2, between the subjects. Let's say for example, if you are studying about budget, you should not study only about budget from polity perspective. Let's say article 112 you study. That is not the way you have to study. What do you have to study? Let's say for example, you are studying about budgets, the steps, everything there. Let's say from polity perspective. Automatically your mind should link it to, okay, what are the economy perspectives of this? How can I link it to, let's say for example, remember expenditure, revenue, and then deficits, this, that, everything, how can I link to that? When you are revising the same topic in economy, how are you linking it to polity? Let's say when you are studying about soil, soil from geography perspective, soil from environment perspective, soil from agri perspective, automatically your mind should link. Fine. Let's say for example, recently you might have gone through the Kaveri issue was regularly in news. When you are going through Kaveri issue, all the angles you need to bring. Okay, what is, okay, it's a kind of interstate border dispute. What is the polity angle related to it? Article 262, Interstate Water Disputes Act 1956. Fine, tribunals. What is this tribunal? What is the, that is polity angle. Then geography angle means what? Where does the river rise? Which states that is goes through? What are the tribute? This is another perspective. Then you have to again think about what? Let's say for example, what do you call this, agriculture perspective, what kind of crops are grown in that region, what is there, is it kind of water intensive or how is it, that angle is another point. So only if you link all these things, maybe is it linked to southwest monsoon, is it linked to northeast monsoons, if you have only this big picture, you are going to solve it. If you only depend on, okay, if you look at this interstate water dispute as only polity issue or only geography issue, the other aspects is going to go out of your control. So linkages is one biggest lesson that UPSC has time and again they are telling you in the last 2-3 years. Clear? Yeah, that is another one. Now, this one also a lot of students have this doubt that sir, is it 42nd amendment, all those things. See, these are all what, this in polity actually relatively questions are easy also. Because remember, why is this first amendment? 31A, 31B. Remember that? First amendment, 9th schedule, 31B. So that's why obviously answer has to remain first amendment. Clear? So that is the reason. Okay, bodies, all those things obviously, I mean, broadly you will be able to solve obviously in your, what do you call this, when we go to the questions itself, you will be able to solve it. Consider the following statements. Okay, this one is what? In terms of your, if the election of president is declared void by the Supreme Court, okay, this one, again, have you observed that president related question? How the president is a question, they have asked about states there. Remember that question, Puducherry, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, I think Madhya Pradesh, all those things, they compared it a lot. It is actually a very tricky question. It's a very simple factual question, but they made it very tricky. Fine? So be cautious about those things. That is one angle. Okay, these are all very simple, basic ones with respect to scheduled areas, schedule 5, all those things. See, this is again a new area of asking a question. Because they are asking about which one? Home guards. This is not normally, you don't study home guards. Let's say for example, see if they are asking about home guards, what is the question that you can think? Okay, if they can ask about home guards, why can't they ask about CAPF then? Central Armed Police Force. That angle you need to work again. What are the different types of CAPF? They keep referring to term called as paramilitary force. What do you mean by these paramilitary forces? Which ministry do they work under? What is the difference between normal army and what do you mean by these paramilitary forces? That difference you need to go and search and make done. Of course, when we do, obviously every subject faculty will take care of that. but that little more effort you have to put in. Correct? So that is the observation that you have to take. See? Because remember last year regularly Har Ghar Tiranga, imagine to what extent they made it as a slogan, I mean as a campaign. It's a very clear indication that you should know the basics about it. Fine, that is another big aspect. Okay, I think this one is broadly available. This kind of questions, lot of probably next time you will have a high chance. See how last year they increased the questions on which one? This 1 pair, 2 pair. Probably there is a chance that this statement 1, statement 2, assertion, reasoning, that kind of pattern also will come back a lot. So be prepared for that. Language of UPSC questions matters a lot, because if you have observed the typical test series kind of questions, you will over a period, if you solve one institute, have you observed that your scores will keep on increasing there? Reason, you will get hold of that language of that paper, language of that institute. Similarly, UPSC PYQs, so many times you have to do it that almost 15-20 years every single question should be in your fingertips. Polity, what kind of questions are they asking in the last 10 years, at least 2013 to 2023, how the nature of questions have changed, that should be in your fingertip. Are they making it lengthy, are they making it conceptual, how they are trying to trick me, extreme words, is it working or not, all those things should be in your fingertips. Clear? So that is another most important one. Okay, I think this will be able to tell you easily. See, this is another, this as I have shown you, even look at the word. This pattern of defining is so regular that have you observed that every year at least 2 questions is on this. Is the term mentioned, is it defined? And most of the times if they give it defined, you take it as it is wrong. For simple reason, constitution mein you can't define things. Fine, because if you define it, you are already narrowing the scope. That's why if you have observed nothing they'll define. Rarely, let's say for example Anglo-Indian they define. But those are all very rare. 365 article may, in general if you get it defined, take it as it is wrong. Clear? So that pattern also you have to keep on observing. Okay, see this is again new way of asking questions. Everybody knows about what is the basic difference between lawyers and advocates. They went one step ahead and they asked about what do you mean by this corporate lawyers, patent attorneys. What do you mean by that? Now let's say for example, these are all regular words, they keep using the word pleader. Who is a pleader? Fine, let's say for example, let's say advocate strike happens. Who is an advocate? Who is a senior advocate? Under which act they get registered? What are their qualifications? Are they considered as government servants or not? Fine, will they pay income tax on their salaries? These are all very, what do you call this, you can say common sense based questions which you will get nowhere. You have to think and use it. Understood? So that is where on those areas we will work a little more. Clear? But these are all very basics. This I think you can, what do you mean by this classification of ministries, all those things. I will not get into all those are all every subject wise we'll discuss about it. Modern India again, so I don't have to explain, the core areas we will be knowing broadly. The advent of European social religious reform, I think even these areas have also changed, because look at it, they are asking a question from Act now, which is in a way you can put it as polity also, in a way you can put it as modern India also. Fine, they have asked about this archaeological excavations, National Handloom Day, Swadeshi movement. Do you get all these questions in your normal, what do you call as this reference book, all those things? You will get none of them, because they have almost kept it out. If I said then where should I study? New source, you will not have any new source as of now, because let's say for example if you look at that one question and start completely depending on it, where is the end? I said remember economy, there was a question on recently that there is a new, there is a term called as beta which is in news. What do you mean by this beta? Will you keep studying based on that, like let's say the entire accounts then? There is no end if you study like that. Broadly again what you have to do, you have to make sure that you are very clear in your conceptual clarity. Fine, time and again regularly, have you, are you regularly following newspapers and making notes, or you are still depending on Institute magazine? How is it? I am telling you as a curiosity. Are you reading newspapers and then making notes regularly or not? Okay, you are trying to make. Okay, but how many are still depend on monthly magazine, all those things? Or newspapers, how many? You are trying to make notes out of it. Okay, because as far as, because when we keep interacting with multiple students, some core areas which we are again and again identifying is those who are depending on newspapers and making notes on by themselves. They have, let's say for example, remember last year there was a question on cobalt, there was a question on orangutan, there was a question on carbon nanotubes. Also one or other references they have given in Hindu also, in Indian Express also. But the point is what, you should not just go through the newspaper. One aspect is you should note down. Second aspect is what, you should do a little more search. Fine, what do you mean by this? Let's say they may just give you broadly that the new discovery has happened or a new invention has happened with respect to carbon nanotube technology. You should go search and identify what is this, what do you mean by this carbon nanotubes? What all has changed in that? That is your role. Fine, if you only depend on what has happened, that is not going to work, because in most of the times in Hindu they may not give you the entire details about what is this carbon nanotube, all those things, or whatever biotechnology related issues kuch bhi, that you should be doing. Say, let's say for example Chandrayaan 3 has happened, so the entire details, but they may not give about Chandrayaan, they may go about what? They may go about the basic differences between PSLV, this, that, they may go to that. That also curiosity you should have. Because everybody knows about Chandrayaan 3, who doesn't know obviously if you are preparing in this detail, but they may go to a little more basics. Even in polity they do the same thing. They will not ask entirely about current affairs, they link back to your basics again. Fine. For example, what do you call as this, remember that parole issue, multiple times it was in news in the context of this Sushant Singh issue, in the context of this Aryan Khan issue, time and again it was in news. They simply asked, what do you mean by parole, what do you mean by bail, or what is the difference between, remember, police custody, judicial custody. It's a simple question, but until you get, let's say for example, what is the simple difference, what is the difference between an FIR and a charge sheet? What is the difference between FIR and charge sheet? FIR or charge sheet?
So it is FIR is the first information report which after the commitment of the crime we go to the police station, and charge sheet is the final investigation report which all the investigations are done and presented in front of the magistrate.
Okay, is the terms mentioned in IPC, CRPC or not?
Yes, sir. In CRPC it's
See,
there.
FIR, the term is not mentioned in CRPC, but charge sheet is mentioned. Now let's say for example, within how many days will you file the charge sheet? 60 to 90 days you have to file the charge sheet. Fine. For example, let's say what if the charge sheet is not accepted? Yeah. What is the difference between cognizable offence, non-cognizable offence?
Where without FIR arrest can be done.
Not without FIR, without warrants. What do you mean by, remember now they are talking, obviously now they are reframing, IPC, CRPC or Evidence Act, they are reframing. Now they are talking about what, let's say for example, they are talking about sedition, that sedition provision will not be there, they are telling in the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita. So that difference you should be knowing. What do you mean by this sedition? What is the definition in IPC? What is this section 124A? Is the term defined there? What is the, even those small things also they will ask. Fine, they are talking about, let's say for example this, what is this term, not hate speech, they was talking about so many other provisions. Let's say for example the section 377. So now they are telling that in Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita there will be no reference to this, it will be decriminalized, they are telling. They are telling suicide will be decriminalized, remember section 309 APC, now they are telling it will be decriminalized. Now what is the provision in this section 309 then there in IPC? That you should have a broader awareness. Clear? So that way when whatever is happening in and around, you should keep on having an eye. What is this Indian Evidence Act? When was it framed? What is broadly considered as evidence? What is not considered as an evidence? Let's say for example, confessions made before the police is not considered. Remember that the statement was there 2023 May. But in what do you call this TADA and POTA Acts, confessions made before the police was considered as evidence. So if they give the statement, you should be able to at least identify it as yes or no. Clear? So those aspects you should be a little more clear about all those things. Fine, these are all obviously the respective faculties will take care of that, but the core point you have to take from modern India is relatively questions have reduced, but don't compromise on that. The core NCRTs, the core the spectrum will always again work. What you can do, that ready reference data, all those things, make a facts, whatever facts are there, don't assume that the exam is only conceptual exam. Facts matter a lot. That's why again another trick what you can regularly do is go back and revise or refer to this CDS questions, CAPF questions, India related exams, all those things, refer that regularly. Recently I think was EAP 4-1 question exam was there. I think CAPF maybe was there also. Huh? CAPF exam was there or not? I think it was there. Or EPF though, obviously it was there. So go refer to all those things, because that will always give you a kind of reference to the next kind of questions that they are going to ask. Don't miss out on them. Fine? Yeah. Then core areas, obviously you know what are the, what do you call this, Indus Valley civilizations or foreign travelers to major kingdoms to even, like let's say this one I don't have to, time and again they keep asking these questions about it. Now I think relatively these questions have increased. Indus Valley all time and again. Fine? And obviously the faculties were telling with respect to ancient medieval India and art and culture that again 1 or 2 questions will always be there, which is completely almost you can say unsolvable. So don't bet on them. It's better you live it, keep going forward. Fine? Focus on those core questions where you can solve much better. They'll make sure, I think they'll give you this kind of fact sheets, all those things, so where you have to by heart a lot, and always study ancient medieval art and culture together, because if you study it, what do you call this, separately, you can't link, because how can you study art and culture separately and ancient India separately? All of that is interlinked. Always make sure that you study together. So that is with respect to especially ancient medieval. I am not going to get into say all these single details, every single question, all those things, architecture, paintings. But a lot of times, have you observed in art and culture also, by looking at the terms, the sound of the term itself, you can identify the answer. Okay, you might, the moment you look at it, you will feel like probably this chances are high it is from Tamil Nadu, probably chances are high this will be from Northeast. The terminology also will be there. Fine? Or maybe if the terms like, let's say for example, what do you call it, this Paramithartha, all those words comes, chances are very high it is related to Buddhism. So because it is referring something related to Nirvana, all those things, those only if you do terminologies, this one you have to give lot of importance to this. Have you observed kitna questions they keep asking regularly? This term so and so was in use during ancient India, medieval India, what does this mean? So keep an eye on all those things. Okay, these are all questions, but before coming into this, let's say for example, if you look at now, how to manage those 2 hours and what are the do's and don'ts. That is your biggest skill now. What you should be doing, what you should not be doing. Fine? This has actually become the most important trick now. How are you going to manage those 2 hours? Understood? So point number 1 is what? Let's say, as I said, categorize the questions again. Fine? Core, or you can say basic questions. You keep it for, you can say 30 to 35. This is your strength. Fine? Solve more. Next one is your 50-50, you can say. Fine? When you are doing in the first round itself, what do you have to do? The moment you look at that question, you should identify, okay, is it my 100% sure question, is it my 50-50 or is it third one? When are you going to mark? Always make sure that you visualize your 2 hours much before itself. How am I going to solve, how am I going to manage those 2 hours? When am I going to mark in my OMR? Fine, will I mark every question after question? Because some people what they do it paper by paper. Some people do it question by question. A lot of people keep it at the end, or a lot of people keep it round by round. All those things you have to prepare in the beginning itself. You can't, what do you call this, go and completely, keep it, do new things in the exam. Another one, range. Fine, you cannot attempt less than, let's say for example, a lot of students last time I told that they had attempted 62, 65 because they did not know anything other than that. So they had no choice, or maybe because of time issues. Obviously, I can tell you, based on a minimum 75 questions to aapko attempt karna hi padega. Because if you attempt less than 75, that means what you should have? Your accuracy should be near 100%. How will you ensure near 100% accuracy in this kind of exam? It is almost impossible. Minimum 75 question, depending on, of course, that year, how was the question paper, was it from your core areas or not, it might go to 85, it might go to 90 also, because every personality is vary. But minimum is 75. Mandatory, there is no chance in that. Clear? So that is another waste. And then when are you going to, as I said, you prepare it from the beginning itself. Presence of mind matters a lot. So all these will only come, regularly when you solve the marks, only then you are going to get that hold. So better you start from now itself. That's the reason every day whatever we are going to do, on that you will get minimum 50 questions. Fine. Keep solving it regularly. Keep looking at your PYQs regularly, because only that is going to give you much better advantage. Fine. And then for CSAT, start now itself. You cannot keep it at the end, because normally what will happen if you keep it at the end, it will overlap with your GS. And in March, April again what will we do? We'll start giving more importance again to GS, because GS is always, workload is more, the aspect that you have to study is more, automatically GS will dominate. CSAT will get sidelined. So start very quickly, start from today itself. Fine, if you can do it every day 1 hour, that's left to you, or else alternate days, whatever. So start from now itself. And with respect to which one? Numeracy, all those things. Earlier what we used to feel, 40-45 questions easily you can attempt. Now it's not like that. It's no longer a qualifier. It's actually an eliminator now, CSAT. Fine. So make sure that for numeracy, number systems, HCF, LCM, all those things also you should give equal priority. That they'll take, they'll brief you all those things. They'll discuss about the strategies, all those things. I'm just giving you broader ideas. What you should not be doing again is very important. Basic questions, never give up. Make sure that you have near 100% accuracy here. Here you should have near 100% accuracy. Fine. And then as I said, curiosity. So this is, okay, what you should not be doing. And then what do you call this? Overthinking. Always understand, this is a generalist exam. Because it is a generalist exam, your questions will always be from a very broader area. Think broad always. Think broad, think macro. Never ever get into the depth. Fine. The more you start overthinking, chance of getting mistakes is always very high. That's why avoid that. Fine. But what you should be doing, as I keep telling, first one is lots and lots of common sense. Fine. Second one is, because conceptual clarity is obvious, but for me these three are the most important one. One is conceptual clarity, second one is lots of common sense, and third one is lots of curiosity. If you have this, your chances of clearing is very high. If you neglect that and depend only on materials, chances is going to be affected. Fine, keep that in mind. Okay, so then any other challenges that you faced? See, ancient, medieval, economy. The core areas again will remain the same. I don't have to explain again. So right from the basic concepts to planning, to reforms, to human development, banking, money, financial markets, infrastructure, again depending on how will you take up. Let's say if you add schemes also under economic survey budget, should we solve economic survey or budget if you have the doubt? Obviously answer is yes only, but you don't have to go and study the entire economic survey again. What you do, whatever summaries are available either in Insights or any other institute, take that, solve at least a 100 question mock paper on that, note down all those core important areas. Even though they may not ask a direct question, at least it will help you in elimination. fine. So those aspects, who, even simple questions like, let's say for example, who prepares budget also they have asked once, or who prepares economic survey also they have asked. Those are all core aspects, but still matters a lot. Fine, that is about your economy related questions. Of course, they will come back and they will take you up each and every single question. See these kind of questions. How many had marked this correct last in 2023? On what basis did you, what logic did you use for this?
It is mathematical and also studies.
Okay, because you took it as a mathematical one, so you just use this keyword. That's it. Yeah, this is actually simple logic, that is common sense. You don't have to use lot of go this, that and everything. So you just linked it to, because normally remember in mathematics also when you are deriving in physics all those things they keep using this. So that simple logics, that will still always work, because each and everything you can't prepare, especially look at your SHG question. This you can't put it as entirely economy also, it is not entirely polity also, it is somewhere actually polity economy related. So how many got this correct last time? On what basis? Look at it. SHG program was originally initiated by State Bank of India by providing micro credit to the financially deprived. What is the answer for, correct or wrong? First statement. It was NABARD SHG Bank SHG linkage program. In an SHG, all the members take the responsibility for a load that an individual member takes. Obviously, because that is what you call as collective responsibility, that is what is in a kind of peer groups. Regional rural banks and scheduled commercial banks, of course they will support it. RRBs. Remember that very famous concept itself. Related to that. Muhammad, yeah, see again, Muhammad Yunus. Muhammad Yunus related to that. So when Muhammad Yunus, I think not, he is arrested. He is from Bangladesh, he was arrested in some issue. The moment that happens, your mind should again go and search. Okay, who is this Muhammad Yunus? What is this Grameen Bank idea? How did that inspire India? How is it linked to SHGs? That aspect you have to keep on linking again. Fine, that, because that is where they keep playing the games. Rest all obviously factual aspects, all those things, how important is all those things, they'll take care of that, they'll tell you, don't worry. See, multiple times I don't even have to tell, imagine how much was it in use, digital currency. So RBI governor kept on suggesting about it. So it's more than obvious you can expect a question on that. Then see, this one earlier, we never used to study these kind of questions. Which is the largest solar park in India? So, or which state produces most of the solar energy? So, within renewable energy, which is more? Is solar more? Is wind more? All those things we never used to study earlier. All these things. It's actually typical factual, but still now they are asking those questions also. Fine, you can't completely leave them. See, this is too much of interlinking, right from the US Federal Reserve to external commercial borrowings. See how, to what extent they are interlinking. Only and only if you have conceptual clarity you will get it. So that's why don't keep it to the end, regularly you keep on doing it. Bank Boards Bureau. Imagine, because of the bank issue, NPA issue, all those things, they had created this Bank Boards Bureau. So about that detailed they are asked. What do you mean this is Bank Boards Bureau, all those things? Convertible bonds. Okay, this is typical, very easy. Non-fungible tokens, again current affairs related. Economy, a lot of issues will be there. I will not get into details. Environment, again the faculty obviously was saying that again and again, ask them to see, again the faculty will take care of that. So one thing he said, what especially with respect to all those conventions, it's always better you go to their core websites, search there about us, let's say UNEP. What do you mean by this UNEP? Go search about them. When was it established? What is the purpose? Who is the head of it? Is it an organ of UN or is it a kind of special, whatever, so many words are there. What do you mean by that? What are the initiatives of UNEP? Go study about their initiatives. Know broadly about what you mean by that. Fine. If you don't know all those things, remember New York Declaration on Forest was there. So many issues was there. Hyderabad mein kuch convention tha na related to what for trees or forests. Related to that they asked the question. So that is a link, extrapolation of that. Fine. Simple question like what is the difference between turtle and tortoise? What is the difference between cheetah and let's say for example leopard and what do you call as this panthers? Is there any differences in their skins? Remember all this relocation of cheetahs was happening. What is the difference between them? These are all very simple questions, but do you exactly know the differences? Fine. That is where the game will be there. And then rest. Normally what do you study for what do you call this environment NCERTs mein? That biology, remember last 4 chapters, 12th NCERT, last 4 chapters, chemistry mein thoda chapters. So all those things even now you can't neglect them because the source still remains the same. Fine. So and then this for your orangutan question, all those things. Remember this marsupials, this one obviously you know. See, all of a sudden you will feel like how can they ask this in UPSC? But they'll ask. Yes, that's what. One or other it will be in news. Fine. Why was this in news? Any? Okay, yeah, chances are there. So that way, see, obviously it was in news, means in newspaper mein tha, but they might not have told all the details. Did they tell all the details in newspapers? To this level, obviously they will not tell the details. This level, correct?
They have all just mentioned about the kangaroo. I just said about the kangaroo belong to marsupial.
That search, that is where the work is there. You should go search a little more about it. So that curiosity. Same thing applies for this also. Same thing, remember mushroom, how many times was it in news? That Prime Minister eats mushroom, Prime Minister, imagine how many number of times it was in news. That Prime Minister Modi's favorite is this kind of mushroom, that kind of mushroom. So multiple times it was in news. Even if you had a little more curiosity about what do you mean by this, that's why remember earlier they used to call all, only, now look at it. Because they know the moment you look at only you will eliminate. That's why they made a sum. Now you can't eliminate using sum because obviously sum means always chances are there. Now based on that you eliminate that and you have to look at others. Squirrels. This has become so famous I don't even have to explain again. So look at the way they have asked. That they are omnivorous. Such a easy question, such a easy statement. But in real time it feels like how many times have I seen squirrels, but how should I solve this question? It's not like everybody knows about squirrels, but how much curiosity do you have about their lifestyle? What do they eat? Where do they live? Fine. So for example, what do you call this? Olive ridley turtles. Time and again you will study about what do you call this? Odisha, what is that bank? Rushikulya, all those things. Where do they come? You have to in India how many types of turtles are found? Is there any mission plans on that, national mission plan or anything? From which areas do they come? Do they like hot waters? Do they like cold waters? Do they live in the shallow waters? Do they live in the deep waters? Which oceans are they mostly found in? That one you have to keep on, when is their nesting season? Fine, what is their IUCN status? That one time and again you have to do it. Clear? Species. This one. I think this also was, some student was telling, sir, it was in news, I had seen that. So I had just made a very basic search. People were telling, I don't know, whoever I regularly gone through it.
She had a research on this orangutan. So she made a documentary. In that documentary, the first thing was this only. The orangutan tried to reach out. So that documentary was in news for many days.
Okay, maybe, you have to hindsight mein link karna padega, but still point is one or other way it was in news. But will you find these materials, content normally in the typical institute magazines? That it's not so easy. because that's a typical UPSC strategy. What they'll do is whatever institute magazines are there, material, keep it out. But that attitude, that approach of how do you go and search, that nobody can take it away from you. One or the other it will always come. Even a lot of times, let's say for example, remember that KitKat, so many times they have made you famous now. What that, that do you know, they give it on KitKat now. I think prelims time they have made a channel itself on that. I mean, some students were showing that in Telegram you have a channel itself where all these KitKat related, 1 year, 5 year related, they all have posted there. Because one, I think I forgot that question, some coast may they had asked a question. Which is that coast? Odisha, I think.
Chandipur beach.
Chandipur beach pe. So that picture of that KitKat had become very famous. Time and again, 2 years, 3 years, regularly they are running. Now, at least it will work for curiosity. It's not that UPSC will go identify a question from that, but for curiosity it will work. Fine. Rest all again, based on that they will deal with that. Don't worry, of course, because we are not going into each and protection acts. I don't have to tell how important is the acts. I think this was also in news. Someone was telling why it was in news, this Kushi.
It's also mushrooms.
Mushroom only. Yeah, okay. Not a bird. Nitrogen fixing. This was, yeah. Geography related, what kind of questions are they asking? As I said, say these kind of, not exactly conceptual, but you can say kind of comparisons, kind of factual, all mixed. Mapping, I think mapping is another very important area now. Last year, I think what 2 questions were related to in and around Ukraine itself. Fine, and then mapping, minimum 4 to 5 questions you will get from map itself. That again you can't develop in 1 week or 10 days. Regularly you have to use this atlas and keep referring that time and again, whichever is in use. For example, recently they were telling, remember a ship had stuck in some island of Greece, which is that where the migrants had gone there and got stuck in some place of Greece. That is time and again it is in use, Mediterranean Sea. So what is that place? Which country does it belong to? What is the speciality of it? Which sea is bordering that? That you have to always have an eye on that. Fine. Rest all, because subject wise this is, so conceptual aspects, all those things, these kind of facts again. How many are generally called as tea producing states? Remember, I think recently some international coffee conference or something, it was India's first conference, I think, right? International coffee conference or something happened in India. Then again, they were telling, let's say for example, what all should you identify in that? Which coffee breed do we grow more? Is it coffee Robusta or is coffee Arabica? What are the weather conditions for growing coffee? Which state in India grows more coffee? This all automatically your mind should link. Fine, who brought coffee for the first time into India? Yeah, all these aspects you have to always have an inquisitive angle. Why only in some state is it grown more? Is it South America, I mean is it in South America, is it in India? What is the difference between coffee and tea? Weather conditions mein kya difference hoga? All big picture you need to have. Coffee board is there. What kind of body is coffee board? Is it a statutory body? Is it an executive? Remember 1 year they asked a question on tea board. Like recently there was a question called as turmeric board which was in news. I think last week itself they have established, last week or last month mein. So what is this turmeric board? Do you have an act for it? Do you have an act for turmeric board? How? So it's an executive body. It is not established by any act. It is established by a resolution of Government of India. Fine. Is India the largest producer of turmeric or not? Of course it is. Which states produce it more? I think Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka together produce somewhere around 2/3. What conditions favor the growth of turmeric? This again, you will, because turmeric normally I don't think even in geography you study that in detail. But because it was in news, you have to go through it. Clear? Yeah, that way broadly, so keep that in mind. And then obviously Gandhi quotas, so many times it was in news. Because I mean, I don't know, yeah, related to caves also, there is a caves there, kind of a canyon that is actually. This one, see now again, Sikkim floods, everything has happened. So automatically you should have broader picture about Sikkim. which I think it was related to Tista River, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Tista River, and then what is this glacier? What is the glacier name? Lona. Yeah, Lona glacier related. You have to get, what all you have to get there? You have to get a geography angle there. You have to get a, what do you call it, this state-wise picture there. You have to get a, what do you call it, this interest, if you take it as a Tista River water dispute, if you take it, what is the dispute? You have to get that picture between India and Bangladesh there. Climate change angle, each and every broader picture you need to have. If you miss out, if you are only studying it as a glacier related issue, that means your mind is already stuck to one dimension. And UPSC is never going to favor one dimensional preparation. Fine. S&T, a very, very important aspect now. Earlier, we never used to give too much of importance to S&T. Post 2019, 2020, you can say, this actually has got a lot of importance. And I don't have to tell the important areas, everything, from biotechnology to nanotechnology to emerging technologies, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, data mining, each and everything matters a lot. Do not neglect basic science. Even basic science also matters. If you think that they are only going to ask on emerging technologies, they will go back and ask about total internal reflection. They will go and ask about reflection, they will go and ask about sound, heat, planets. They will go to that level of basics also. Fine, don't assume that only these things will matter. Fine. Green hydrogen, remember, because why was it in your multiple times they have asked about which one? Because last year they launched this national green hydrogen mission. I think 2 or 3 questions they have asked about green hydrogen. Because landmark project. This missiles, because of this Agni, there are so many things, DRDO issues, ISRO issues. There is no doubt you have to always have a key eye on that. Okay, those are all related to questions. And then broadly you are, see again in G20 May, they have which one, they have announced this, which one, this India, Middle East and European corridor. So obviously you can expect, you may study about this, but earlier there was another one. So international north-south trade corridor issue was there. That also you should understand, because everybody will study about this, but they will ask about that. Remember earlier there used to be very famous this, what do you call this, in Iran, we used to construct this port, Chabahar port. They may go and ask a question on Chabahar port. Because Chabahar, I don't think recently it is not in use, but they can link back to the Chabahar port. Fine. Or the opposite of that, Gwadar port in Pakistan, they may ask about that. Or who knows, they may ask about Belt and Road Initiative itself. So that all interlinkages you have to do. Because what all happened in G20 is one aspect. What links you take from there and then study is the biggest advantage that you will always have. If you only stick to this, that's a different issue then. Institutions may, I don't have to tell which areas, normally whichever conferences are happening or conventions are happening, what do you call this, is India member of this, that, all those things, you will take care of that, factual sheets, everything they will give. Schemes maybe, I think scheme wise questions, how many was there in scheme related? I think that questions have come down. Scheme related, 1 year I think which one, Ayushman Bharat ka 1 year they asked, Ayushman Bharat digital mission or something they asked. But number of questions on schemes actually has come down, but you can't neglect. You can't neglect also, but you can't by each and every schemes. Because imagine kitna schemes hai. You can't by each and every scheme. You have to broadly understand, okay, this is the intention of the scheme. If this is the intention of the scheme, which ministry will it be linked to? Like for example, simple context. If they ask Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, which ministry implements it? But it is a tri-ministry initiative. It is related to women and child development also, because it is related to decide all those things. It is a Ministry of Health and Family Welfare also. It is also related to Ministry of Education. Fine. So say for example, simple like that. Let's say for example, there was this initiative called as PM Shri, which was in use. If they tell PM Shri is related to which one? It is related to PM Shri. Education. PM Shri means Prime Minister, what do you call this, schools for rising India. You can't link, but that was a project. Prime Minister initiative, Prime Minister's School for Rising India, that was Shri. Fine. So schemes also will matter, but not the priority. So priority subjects based on this level of discussion, if you want to identify, again it will remain what they keep telling, polity, economy are the two most important subjects where you will get 25 to 30 core questions. Make sure you get 100% focus there, fine. Then other ones, second most important one is environment S&T, because its importance has actually increased very high. Then comes your, let's say for example, you can say geography, agriculture combinedly. Actually geography, agriculture, environment, you have to combine it together. Let's say geography, environment, especially mapping. Mapping in news, make it as a everyday priority. Whichever issues you keep getting, always keep a separate note itself on it. Places in news, maps. Keep on using atlas regularly, go note down everything, do not depend on any material. Fine, agriculture also, anything, let's say for example, recently obviously, what do you call as MS Swaminathan ka death hua. So you had obviously, you know, Green Revolution. Is there first of all a scheme called as Green Revolution? Then Green Revolution refers to which of the following schemes? If they ask which schemes, which initiatives?
Hybrid seeds.
Correct, but there were two major initiatives called as Intensive Agriculture Area Program, Intensive Agriculture District Programs. Those two are actually combinedly called as Green Revolution. There is nothing called as Green Revolution. So the drastic increase in the production is what they call it as that. Now if they ask, let's say for example, simple terms, who is called as the father of Green Revolution in the world? Norman Borlaug. Because if you would have studied only about, I mean, if in case you have studied only about father of Green Revolution in India, then that is about that. Fine. Let's say for example, he was closely associated with it IRRI, International Rice Research Institute. What is this IRRI? Where does it work? It's a very important issue. Let's say for example, they keep telling wheat. Earlier he developed rice, but wheat was not there. For wheat, he took a gene from, what do you call this, Norman Borlaug. What is that gene? That idea you need to have. Fine, which, because earlier it used to grow very tall. So because it was tall, he could not, the more crops it used to get, automatically the crop used to come down. Then he wanted to make it stunt. To make it stunt, he introduced a gene into that. That gene name you have to understand. Because only then productivity increased. Because till then productivity was very less in India. That aspect you need to have. When you automatically study about that, you should also link, okay, if I am studying about Green Revolution, then what is this White Revolution? Operation Flood, who came up with that? National Dairy Development Board, okay, Amul related, Amul is all these aspects you have to link. Remember, cooperative society was in news because of Supreme Court judgment. That's the question on cooperatives is a which subject? Cooperatives is a state subject, but multi-state cooperatives is, yeah, that clarity you need to have. Let's say they created Ministry of Cooperatives. Now based on that, who will create a ministry? Who will create a ministry or department? Simple political question. Who creates a ministry or department? If they ask, what is the answer? Officially, who will create it? It is the president who creates on the advice of Council of Ministers. See, very simple question. Why? Because Article 77 says so. Because president, in the name of the president only all the executive decisions are taken. Clear? Yeah, that basic ideas you need to have. Rest all obviously we keep, no alerts, at least they might have. Okay, any other questions? Like let's say for example, what challenges you guys are facing with respect to prelims in general? Yes, yes. See, direct elimination, I mean you are asking with respect to that one statement correct, two statement correct, those things. Please place it. So direct elimination technique will not work here. So, but what will work is, again, you can make it as a three-stage approach. The first stage approach is, you should have a very good conceptual clarity. Second one is, you should use broader understanding, like let's say for example, common sense, if you can, is this possible or not? That trick you have to use. Fine. Directly, let's say for example, okay, going for based on extreme words will always work even now. Let's say for example, if they have given only, all those things, very high chance it is still wrong. That aspect it will still work. But that trick, if you are asking, that directly trick will not work because it is not possible at all. That direct trick will not work. Because I asked a lot of people, I asked based on whoever are doing regularly for this prelims question paper framing, all those things, even they said normally this only two will be correct. If you are in confusion, chances are very high. But you can't go for it. How will you back it? Because if you go for it, then mistakes will increase. So one is concept, second one is, again as I said, concept means interlinking between the subject, interlinking between different subjects. That is where you are going to have the strength. Rest all, I think you can't fall behind tricks for that, because trick era is gone. You have to fall behind your broader common sense and conceptual clarity itself. So don't fall behind those, what do you call this, shortcuts any which way. But what other challenges you faced last time when you have given prelims?
So what do you think about this sports and award section?
Well, it will matter because earlier again the basic point is till 2020 we used to assume that facts normally it is not given at all in prelims, but I don't think it now from now on it will matter a lot. Like let's say recently Asian Games, all those things are going on. You may feel like it doesn't matter. Normally UPSC students don't even study that now. So but you will find a question on that. You will find simple questions like, let's say for example in some sport someone has, let's assume they have won a lot, they will ask the features of that game. What is this game? What are the rules related to that game? They can easily ask, never overlook that. Fine. So don't, what do you call this, neglect any awards or all those things. That doesn't mean you have to go and bat each and everything. It is still a last priority only, but have an eye on it. Not like a typical guy. Let's say for example, it's not like SSC kind of question. They'll make it little tricky, like let's say for example, I'm just telling you, let's say what do you call this, archery related issue is there. What is the rules of that archery game? They'll go. What is the length between shooter and what do you call this, target? That kind of questions they'll give. They'll not go directly about who won the award. That is SSC kind of question. Here, some other one step ahead. So that you should have an eye.
So how we calm during the examination?
Yes, this is how we calm. So because normally if you have observed, you will always come and tell any serious candidate, you ask, they'll tell, sir, I had actually 5 easy questions, I knew the answer, but somehow I committed the mistake there. That's a very, very common thing. You will also tell for yourself also, even everybody else will tell that. That's the biggest, what do you call this, you can say skill, whatever you call it, a straight attitude approach that you should develop a lot from myself. For one trick, what I will tell you is, never go into the exam assuming that it is UPSC, it is IAS, I am going to become the, the best IAS. Keep all those things aside. You should take it as another mock test. That is first biggest point. Second biggest point, when you go there, don't think about results. As far as possible, only focus on the process there. What is the question? How should I approach it? The more and more you think about results, let's say for example, you're sitting there and then you're thinking, what the nature, I think the nature of question paper itself has changed, probably cutoff will increase, probably cutoff will decrease. So this is my weak area, should I, if you keep thinking more about it, the more pressure you are putting on yourself. And overthinking, try to avoid overthinking as much as possible. And a lot of students regularly keep asking, sir, should I back my instinct? Actually instinct will a lot of times work, but you should have revised your concepts multiple times, then instinct will work. Directly you go there and then try to mark it and say my instinct did not work. Instinct itself is based on what? Multiple revisions. Have you observed? Let's say for example, let's assume polity is your strength area, you have revised it so many times, normally your instincts will be right there. It is because your core strength is very, very strong there. Only then instinct will work. Or as you generally if you go there, it's not going to work. Fine? Yeah, then any other issues that you, tell me what issues did you face in the exam? You please tell me that first, so that we'll also get a much better understanding of you, what challenges students are again and again facing. What issues did you face in 2023 prelims?
Pattern of the question.
Pattern. Pattern means, are you asking, I mean telling about the subject area or the way they are changing, playing with the options, which one? Playing with options, that's what? One only.
The word
Essence, huh?
How did you catch that word?
How did you catch what that? Because the more and more you look at the PYQs, you'll understand it. Have you observed they'll keep giving questions like, which among the following essentially means they'll ask. You have not observed that? Multiple times they'll ask it. Essentially means, the term liberty essentially means you have to go to the core definition, depth. Sometimes they'll ask the simple, or they'll mostly ask the definition of liberty is, that is different. Definition of liberty is negative liberty. It essentially means positive liberty, the goal. That wordings you will only understand when you do it, when you solve questions. And normally another one, I mean, I don't know if it works, I mean, have you faced that kind of problems or not? Some students tell that, sir, I read the question, but as I said, I missed out that keyword. That's why what you do, make sure that whenever you attempt a question, mark those keywords, encircle it. The more and more you encircle it, it will stick to your mind, okay, this is the keyword here. If you don't encircle and then only look at the question and then go through it, normally you will miss out on the keywords. That's actually very small trick, it will work. I think you got an idea, right? Let's say it's like this. Let's say you go through the question, this is the encircle it. It will help you a lot, because let's say for example you came down to here, it will help you, okay, this is the keyword, this is the keyword. Let's say you come back to next round, that again it will help you, okay, this is the keyword here. Let's say for example you eliminated 2, fine, you are stuck with, let's say for example, okay, you eliminated only 2, all 3, you are stuck between A and D. In the first round you can mark it as, let's say, okay, this is my category B question, 50-50, or you can do something like some people do it as star, some people do it some other symbols, so that in the second round when you come back, identify this kind of questions first, 50-50, finish it off. You need to have those tricks there. Yeah, any other points, any other challenges you faced?
Sir, in the questioning essence, sir, I could identify the keyword essence, but the problem I faced that I went a few steps deeper in the sense, sir, I questioned myself, essence means what is it trying to say, that in general terms, then something struck my mind that it is a generalization like you said. So I didn't go for that first option, that principle of mathematics.
No, we still have to wait for UPSC answer. I mean, it can still be, as I said, you can still go with the simple definition if they take it, due process of law equals procedure established by law plus is it fair or reasonable. If you take by that, it can still be that. Based on my understanding, because as I teach polity, I am telling you, the real answer is principles of natural justice. Because
The problem is that there is a bit of overthinking that I
yes, overthinking is lot of, especially this I have observed with those who have, let's say for example, if they have studied PG in some issue, let's say for example PG in what do you call this, MSc, this kind of a ones, if they don't come, normally this specialistic thinking will always be an disadvantage for them, because they go very in depth. Agriculture, I had you can say a friend who had done this MSc AG. Most of the agriculture question he used to get wrong. Reason is not that he doesn't know, obviously he has done what you call this MSc in agriculture in a very tough way, what you call this ICR, all those things. But why is he getting wrong? Reason, too much of in-depth, they'll go, no, this can't happen in agriculture. No, you can't think like that. If you think like that, then it's gone. That's why if you have observed, even those people who do, let's say for example, PhD in political science, you ask them to solve these questions, they'll get more than 50 wrong they'll get. Because they'll bring all the subjective angle, analytical angle, all those things. This is an objective exam, you should think only that way. If you bring in your assumptions into all these things, it's going to go wrong. And then normally I keep telling in polity in general, I think you can apply to this. There's a concept called as principles test. Principles means if any statement is going against the core of the constitutional values, if it is against inclusive growth, if it is against sustainable development, if it is against welfare state, if it is against women empowerment, minorities welfare, all these things, you don't even think it is wrong, because nothing can go against these values. Principles test this is fine. And then broader angles. You think common sense you can apply. Is this possible? You ask in reality. If answer is yes, answer is yes. You don't have to take it like, did I study this? In which in Lakshmikant is it given like this or not? In spectrum, not necessary at all. Is it possible in reality? Answer is yes, statement is yes. That is common sense. Yeah, any other challenges or any doubts? Yeah, so starting from tomorrow, what normally we will be doing is how the course is structured. We will be starting with polity. So today I just gave you a overall brief because obviously you will be knowing also, it's not like completely new. But when we go into subject by subject, you will get a lot of things. Point number one, what we will focus is on static, because static of course you can't never ever can overlay. But whenever we do that static, we will keep linking with your current affairs also. Let's say for example, look at how many things were in news. Let's say women reservation bill was in news. One nation, one election was in news. What else? This Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, Bharatiya this, that, whatever, all those things were in news. Fine. All these current affairs also will link. Every day you will get 50 PYQs, previous year questions. Of course you have to solve that. And as I said, give lot of priority to solving questions, because that itself will give you lot of advantage. Fine. And after every subject, I think 1 or 2 full lengths also you will have after every subject, finishing of the subject. And whenever we do subjects, we will solve the PYQs also based on chapter by chapter or maybe combination of chapters. Let's say for example, I am telling you because I will start by tomorrow. Let's say, okay, of course, let's assume fundamental rights we finished. On that, what kind of questions have been asked? All those things we will solve. And in the classes, most of the times, most of the faculties will give you, when we will dictate those notes or all those things, make down those short notes, because whichever short notes, the entire, let's say for example, OGPA notes or let's say whatever basic classes you have attended, your polity notes itself will be what, at least 300, 400 pages you will be having. That one, it's not so easy for you to revise at that time. Let's say 1 week is there for prelims. Now you want to revise entire GS, obviously you will have an anxiety, right? I should revise all the subjects. First of all, anxiety has increased a lot now. So in that short time, if you want to revise quickly, you should have polity notes within, let's say 60, 70 pages. That is our goal. So in the polity class, by let's say 8 to 10 class I will take normally, you can assume within 100 pages, max, I think some students are made by 50, 60 sheets also, you should have your entire polity, static, current, PYQ, everything combinedly. Only core points will write. And I will focus more on what UPSC, what kind of UPSC, what kind of questions is UPSC asking, how they can confuse you. That will be focusing more. Then more or less every strategy, I mean faculty by faculty it will vary a little bit strategy, but mostly this is the core aspect. And if you have seen the features, I think they are going to give you that prelims test, textbook based test series is also free, and then it is linked to, if you clear prelims and then you will get a, what do you call this, free or whatever discount for the mains test series. Yeah, 50% discount for mains test series. Those are all secondary. Fine, that is a bigger picture. And a lot of students actually had cleared last time based on APEC, because and the biggest advantage, as I said, is you are starting quickly. But don't give 100%, my suggestion, don't give 100% for prelims. I think to what extent are you prepared for mains? Is your notes done, subtopic wise notes? No. PYQs? No. At least 3 hour marks, how many have you given? Okay, like are you able to attempt maybe 7, at least 18, 19, you are able to attempt? All 20, okay, very good. Okay, so then if, see this is like, okay, leave it, it's fine, it's fine. Fine, you can take it as, let's say for example, steps. See, one is subtopic notes. From then goes your revision and short notes. This for mains I am telling you, if in case you have missed out, you can follow till December. Then comes your PYQ, answers for PYQs. Then 3 hour mocks. Each and everything matters. If anywhere if you are missing it out, please make sure you work on that, depending on which stage are you in. Maybe For few subjects you might have made the notes, but you might not have revised. For subjects few you might have revised the notes, maybe you have not written PYQs, whatever, depending on the which one are you in. But subtopic wise notes matters a lot. Even for your optional also the same strategy will work. Fine, focus on that also till December. Yeah, any other things? Do you want any queries related to APEC itself? Okay, online students join APEC discussion. Okay, something we can group in there. That will be uploaded in your channels, don't worry, Suvendu Naik. Whatever PDFs, PPTs, everything, that will post it in your forums. I mean in your APEC related channels or groups, whatever they have created. So is there any prerequisite before coming to the class? It's better you revise. Let's say for example from tomorrow onwards, obviously you'll be starting with polity. The basic chapters of polity, let's assume even the, what do you call this, preamble chapter, making of the constitution, parliamentary system, federal system, those basic things, just go revise it and come so that it will be easy. You have to write a lot, so be ready mentally to write a lot. So too much of writing will be there.
Sir, whenever I make notes, I feel like all my notes look like prelims notes.
Prelims notes.
Yeah, I make a lot of notes and all
But
of them are to be prelims.
from where are you making no notes?
Lakshmikant and just
If you refer only Lakshmikant, obviously it will look like prelims notes. For mains, you have to refer, let's say for example, based on PYQ analysis, you have to make the notes for mains separately. For example, have you observed any toppers notes? Whatever the toppers notes they make, actually that is for your mains notes. Only if you make it from NCERT, obviously it will look like prelims notes. You have to use other sources and make it. So how to cover NCERTs now? I mean now in the sense, obviously we will discuss from tomorrow onwards whichever chapters we discuss. Of course I will only use all the NCERTs, but it's better you should always cover NCERTs. Never ever neglect NCERT because that is the, as I keep telling, most important source. So reading NCERTs for all subjects along with current affairs, will it be sufficient? I am a working professional. Should I start now? Okay. NCERT is the core, but you can't neglect reference books, Premchand. What you do is go through the classes because most of the content wise you will get everything. If in case you have not studied, you have not touched reference book itself, I don't think you have to touch now. Stick to NCERTs, stick to current affairs, stick to APEC related class note. So it is going to work because anyhow we have not put in other effort. Sir, what about 50 MCQs? Yeah, that will be uploaded, I think, I don't know the exact time, but after the class it will be uploaded. So you will get that in your portal itself, you will get it. That's what is your daily test. Home assignment means, obviously every faculty might tell you, go read this particular chapter, so go make notes on so and so topics. That's what you can call, take it as home assignments. Sir, what do you think UPSC is expecting from us in prelims? As I told you multiple times, I mean my suggestion, they don't want candidates who depend only and only on materials. That is only one aspect. Of course, to get the basic conceptual clarity, all those things, you have to study NCERT, you have to study reference book, but don't depend only on that. They need people who can think a little more originally, little more based on their own. Not someone who is completely, what do you call this, typical, remember we keep telling rote learning. So that rote learning is discarded, that is the core point. After completion, how to that's what I mean. Your major challenge is with that one only, two only, three only. That again, as I told you, you can't appear for a shortcut solution for it because I have spoken to so many people, students, even faculties, everybody. You can't use shortcut there like earlier what you used to do. Only point is you have to focus on conceptual. The more conceptual clarity you have will have a 70 to 80% chance of getting it correct. Let's say that kind of questions 10 you attempt, but your conceptual clarity is very good in environment. Let's say in polity, let them give 10 questions like that. Even then 7 to 8 will go correct for you.
If you don't have conceptual clarity, in fact there is an advantage also, have you observed in one pair, two pair, actually you might have eliminated something else and then you would have come to the answer of only 2. Actually your knowledge is not correct for that, but still you got your answer correct. You also have an advantage in that. At least earlier it was a bit different in that way. Now something else you eliminated and then you came for 1 only, but answer was something else, but answer is correct.
This happens.
This happens, lot of students have happened, so at least some, for a student when in Bangalore we identified, he had got 6 to 7 questions correct like that. Only because of that he cleared. None of them he had the correct knowledge about it. But that is, I mean, you can say it's in a way, not in a way, it's pure luck itself. But that you can't depend. How will you depend on those things? Rest all obviously, the more and more we do such kind of questions, you will get an idea. Sir, I am self-preparing, but nobody to check mains answer, how to solve. Or then you have to, you prepare, please contact the admin team, they will give you respective faculty telegram IDs or something. Depending on which subject answers are you writing, obviously you can contact them. Timing. So timing, I think probably we'll announce it. Morning it might be 8 or 8:30. You'll get to know by today evening, we'll announce that. Starting in Bangalore. Bangalore I'm not sure, you have to, we have to wait. I don't know about the Bangalore timings as of now for offline class. They'll announce shortly, don't worry. So what will be the timing, what will be the notification, all those channels are there, please join those channels. I'll remind them again to post those channels, don't worry. Okay, any other major?
Sir, I have a question only. After that,
Sure, please.
agriculture income is defined in the constitution.
Which one?
Agriculture income.
Agriculture income. In Article 365, I don't think it is.
It is actually mentioned in Article 366.
Hmm.
Agriculture income defined in Article 366.
You will find the definition also.
So, sir, is it necessary to look into the deeper portion of this article? Like this, I just gave an
Yes. For example, because 366 may whatever you have find that only that you have to go through. Rest all whatever they give definitions, you take it as no. Contempt of court, no. Office of profit, no. For example, what else?
most of the terms they have mentioned in Article 366 which are defining concepts.
Yes, correct. Because definitions only mention.
Sir, do we need to look another articles for more depth if they are?
Not necessary. Because as of now, if you have observed the pattern, they will not ask about in which article is this mentioned. They are not going to ask that. Maximum they will ask, is this mentioned, is this defined? But important articles obviously will matter a lot. Let's say for example, fundamental rights article. As of now, they will ask about, what do you call as this, protection in case of conviction. In the future, what they may ask? They will directly ask what is Article 22. And Article 22 talks about that also they may do.
In this year, mains examination, they have asked right to movement is not absolute right. It's just a statement in Article 19. They have asked it.
But I think there was 2022 ka. Yeah, but still yes, you have a chance. And again, another trick, remember that trick, not exactly, let's say for example, they keep telling, go through those options of 2022, 2023. Based on that option itself, if you search, actually so much of content you will get there itself. I mean, it's not that from the same things they'll again ask a question, but at least what it will help you? It will help you in elimination. If you are able to get that elimination points, that itself is a huge advantage. Fine. Yeah, I think I broadly tried to cover.
Sir, I have a doubt regarding note making from newspaper.
Hmm.
So actually, I have been doing that, but recently I'm taking more time to do this because what I used to do earlier is like I would read the article and then make a very crisp
Correct.
one liner or something like that. But now, sir, one needs to get deeper into it, so the note making time is also.
When did you start making these notes? I mean, from how long? Last year. Okay, so I think by now most of the issues you would have already covered. See, most of the times what will happen, same issues will keep on repeating. It's not like completely new. One nation, one election is not a new issue. If you actually trace it, I think Pranab Mukherjee, I mean when he was the president, at that time it started 2016, 2017 May. It's not like completely drastically new issue. So once if you have done it, so then it should keep on, I mean probably you have started this kind of search and write recently. Maybe newspaper reading you might have started old.
Yes, I said initially in the newspaper I used to read completely within 45 minutes, but now it is taking.
Because now you are searching and trying to note down few things. Yeah, then it will take little more time for you, because by the time it will reach a kind of plateau, because the more and more you search, once it will reach a plateau. Means for example, first 2 to 3 months it will take a lot of time for you. Maybe till December you will find this problem. But after that, most of the issues you would have already covered, you just have to keep on adding there. Let's say for example, what do you call as this, let's assume National Park issue, whatever way under which Act National Park is declared, this, all those things, once you do the search and note it down, in the future in January, some other new national park if they create, some other Ramsar site if they add, you will already have the core issue. You just only have to go and add some 2-3 extra points. So you are still in that first stage probably because of that, now you recently have started, take 2-3 months. Don't worry, but it's better, it will always work. Fine, because this is a traditional strategy which always works. That doesn't mean you should not refer your magazines at all. You can still refer, but compare it. Let's say for example, you have done so and so issues in this month. In monthly magazine, look at the index. Ask yourself, okay, did I cover all these issues in my notes, or is there any new issue that has been given here? If there is a completely new issue, because you may refer, let's say for example, you are studying only the Hindu or Indian Express, but there what they may do, they may refer what PIB, or they may refer Yojana related issues on the and then they will give you this magazine. Refer it and then add those extra points. Fine, but do not make or do not depend only on, let's say, what do you call this, remember this comprehensive magazine they gave at the time of prelims. Don't depend only and only on them. You use it, I am not still saying no, it will still work. Don't make it the sole source. That era is gone. That is the point. I think you got it right? Okay. Yeah, any other in this course we will not be discussing with respect to mains a lot, because mains is completely different. So recorded, that all will be available, don't worry about recorded videos, that will always be in the portal, but how long all those things you have to, but of course it will be available, no issues. Can we attend live lectures? Of course, yes, of course. हाँ हाँ, it will be uploaded in the portal. I mean, you can solve and then tomorrow you can ask those questions, but not here itself. Let's say today, whatever tomorrow we do it, maybe by the evening they'll upload all those questions. Day after, when you come back, any doubts on those questions, you can ask. I think I'll normally take it as 3.5 to 4 hours. So depending on faculty it will vary, but normally I do it for 3.5 to 4 hours, because obviously polity and economy, these two subjects will take a lot of time. So 3.5 to 4 hours, mentally be prepared. Polity is normally hard, that is how I do. If it is, they have already told it as 7 to 11.
7:30.
Okay, so I'll say either it is 7:30 means you take it plus 4, or it is 8 to 12 you can say. Depending on either two, I'll put it in the portal. Huh? Other classes you will have. Means which one? Like any other mains related?
Optional class.
You are attending the normal optional classes now. Okay. You still not completed optionals. You changed the optional, you are doing it for the first time. Changed. Okay. From?
Philosophy to maths.
Philosophy to maths. Okay. Philosophy mein you had written, you got less score, kaise? Written. 240. It was your first mains in philosophy, with philosophy optional. 3 mains, philosophy optional. That way hence you were getting that challenge. 2023 mein you could not clear prelims. You skipped. You skipped it. Okay, fine. And then you have taken maths. It's still a challenging optional. Yeah, but what challenge you faced in philosophy?
It was very subjective, so I was not able to increase my marks. Actually, last time
What is your graduation?
IIT Chemical.
Yeah, so for you guys I think it's always better, because normally what will happen, as far, I mean you can't generalize it, your minds will be more objective. So it's better you back your strength. Maybe I think someone told you maths ka syllabus, all those things is more, that's why you might have taken it. But if you ask me, I'll tell you, you should always back your strengths. Don't go by the market trend always. Market trend will always keep changing, every year it will change. If you only go by market trend, it's not so easy. You should back your strength. If you had backed it, probably you could have already gone to this, who knows. Because people I think would have told you, yaar maths ka syllabus zyada hai yaar, why are you taking it, it will not overlap with your GS, all those things. But again I am telling you, if your core is strong with respect to a subject, if your strength is that, irrespective of whatever is market trend, you should back it. It will always work. See, last year Shruti Sharma, Shruti Sharma, she got in history. If you go and ask anybody with history optional, what will they tell? Arey yaar, history, why are you taking history yaar, kitna hai syllabus, all those things. That is a normal, obviously you know, I don't have to explain, but it will still work. Because level playing field is always there, but you should have that confidence that even in the absence of peer group, I have the confidence to manage, sir. Even if I don't get, let's say for example, someone to give me a test series or review, I can still, if you have that confidence, you should always back it. Because ultimately exam is about your strengths and your weakness. It's a originality will come out there. Yes, it will be based on last 2-3 years trends only. We'll discuss mostly based on that. Don't worry. Other doubts, whatever it is, you can ask tomorrow. Here any other issues? Class timings, I think that will mention again. Okay. I did not go into each and every subject because that itself, if your other subjects faculties will be doing it, why should I do it again? I just give you a broader understanding based on all their inputs. Is that clear? हाँ. हाँ, अर्ली मॉर्निंग का मतलब क्या है? Yeah, that's what it will be, don't worry. 8 to 12, is it okay for you or? 7, हाँ? 9:30 से? अरे यार तो I can't take it for 2 hours यार, but okay, office time, I understand, लेकिन if I start by 7:30 and end by 9:30, मतलब okay, you're telling at least start by early. Okay, that way you're telling. Okay. So that other classes will not be there. Timing wise it will be fine, don't worry. You'll make it as either 7 or 7:30. We can focus on your mains or something else on the rest of the day. Okay, fine, got it. Huh? Don't worry. Timing wise you will not have an issue, don't worry. I'll take care of that. Because we are used to that. 7:30 classes, regularly we do it. But 4 hours you have to be prepared. 3.5 to 4 hours. Because you can't expect 2 hours. Because normally the limit 2.5 hours classes will be there, right? So if you do like that, then it will keep going. So that's why 3.5 to 4 hours, be mentally prepared. That is the point. Someone was asking. Okay. First of all, have you finished all your basic subjects? You have done. Let's say, whatever, right from polity to economy, all these things you have done. ठीक है, तो मेंस का कुछ किया है आपने? Okay, fine. So as I said, half of the day, the moment you finish off APEC classes in the morning, rest half of the day you keep it for mains. Entire day you can say, rather than this whatever 50 question was up. For this, 3.5 months, almost entire subjects will get finished. So by Jan or Jan mid, you will get all these subjects done. Then revise them a lot. Start for CSAT now itself. As of now, integrated matlab, that's what, morning you finish off your prelims. Rest of half of the rest, entire day you can give it for mains itself. That itself is in a way integrated. But only for 3 months, means till December. Especially when your first prelims, it's better you start early now and from Jan 100% prelims. Yeah. Any other issues? Is that broadly fine? Okay, fine. So then, thank you. We'll meet tomorrow and then we'll continue. Yeah, thank you.